I know when we first met years ago, and I was your team chaplain there, and I remember you gave me a book. Then it was on Lou Holtz, and it was about Notre Dame and his winning philosophy and his seasons. And I read it through, and I gave you a book. Then you gave me one. We got this thing where through the years, some of the best books I read were books that we'd exchanged.
Yeah, same here. You know, there's some books that mark your life because you know the time or the situation, and I've always valued that. And then you introduced me to John Maxwell, got me on the old Enjoy cassette tape,
that's right.
You know, and that's been a valuable resource, and I still am part of that.
That's been the thing that connected us was you like I said, when you gave me the book, one of the first people I met that did like I did would find a book and read it, you know, and most people get out of school and they just put the books up, and we were saying, no, let's glean from it.
Yes.
And that's when I said, here's somebody, man, he's on the same track I'm on. We're dialed in.
Right. And, no doubt. And you know, you had a passion for history, leadership, athletics, just like I did, and you gave me the spiritual component. And I tell people all the time that you totally gave me the spiritual simplicity or template to be a believer. Yeah. And I had no idea, but. You know, I thank James Wilson for that, and then and then we became friends, and he became the chaplain, and you know, the rest is history.
It's been. I feel like on my end, I've gotten more out of it than you have. But
we sharpen each other, but I know I've gotten more, and my family too. I mean, you know, both of my kids were baptized here, so you know, and Vicky joined here, so we, you know, it's been great for us.
It has been for me too. And in the baseball deal now, let me ask you this: when you first won that first state championship, that probably had to be for you like, we got there, we did it. But could you ever believe that you'd come behind that with 11 more after that? I mean, did you know that you're going to build a dynasty there? You know, that's what you were known for.
Well, you know, it's just, I just remember the old John Wooden character definition. Mm-hmm. You know, ability can get you to the top, but, you know, character will keep you there. And, you know, and I've heard you say that, you know, you can get to the top faster or maybe even quicker without character. But this, you know, the stickability or sustaining that excellence over a period of time, you know, once, you know, that's what all winners do. You know, once you win that, I don't know, particular court case, you know, you want another one, or you win, you know, a particular series or a particular championship, whatever. Yeah. You know, you want to be back. And once you taste it, you know, it creates that thirst or that hunger that, you know, you can't wait to try. Yeah,
it's kind of finding that formula. Yeah. Now, how long did it take you to win the first state championship?
Well, I say about 5 years.
Okay.
You know, it's just like, you know, I use the analogy like David, you know, I mean, he defeated the bear and the lion, you know, and then we had won a couple of region championships at Kendrick, and it came very close. You know, we were 1 out away from going to the state finals my last year there. And when the Columbus job came open, you know, I knew that we had just barely beat those guys. I mean, it was a dogfight in the last 2 years, and they had just about most of them coming back. Right. So it was just, I was blessed that the opportunity, number one, came open, and then I got a chance to coach those guys. And some of those guys are still, you know, friends of mine. They've done very well in business and whatever. Frank was a 10th grader, like I said, on the team, but, you know, the Bubba Hollands and David Abbott's and people like that were just not only winners there, but winners in the community and wherever they go.
And you had other coaches, too, like most teams. You had good coaches that came along beside you, assistants in that stage. Some of them had even been your players, and they wound up now coaching and doing well. I spoke at that Georgia Dugout Club in Atlanta, and got a chance that David Smart was there, kind of overseeing that. And he'd been one of your players and assistants.
Yeah, he was coaching with 10 years, and then I had Greg Mathis for about 8 or 10. You know, he's in Brookstone now, and really has redirected their girls softball team, and they were ultra successful. But James Wilson was an assistant. He goes to UFO. Two of my proudest accomplishments are that James and Ed Oliver won championships away from me. So I would like to think, and they always gave me a lot of credit, but it was really self-fulfilling to see them be successful when they left me.
Yeah, that's the fruit, that shows you did it right. I mean, you got the formula down, you did that, you constantly grow. That's been the part that I think as I look from the outside of it, I said, Bobby has just done it right. And the funny thing is, your style, people don't know it because you know, when we're talking like this, there's so much humility and it's just a wealth of knowledge, but there's so much humility that people wouldn't know when it's game time or practice time. You change and become, all right, folks, this is all business.
Yes.
And that's the serious side. And your players, the players that played for you, the ones I knew, if they played for somebody else, they came over and it was a whole other level playing for you. It was like we could get away with anything. We could show up late. We could do what we want. We could, pop gum and, laugh on a bus and hang out. When we came with Coach Howard, suddenly we're a team and this is a mission and we're going out. That was your style.
Well, I've been blessed. The main thing is what we tried to do was put all our emphasis on preparation, and practice.
Yeah.
And then the games, let the kids play. I back off, and that's the reason at the moment, a lot of times, we tried to create an atmosphere where the games were fun. Now, the practice time is my time.
Okay.
And I put a lot of demands and the expectations are higher there. And I think everybody that's successful, like Coach K and Saban and those particular guys that win year in and year out, the Dabo Sweeneys, whatever, they figured it out because, you got to have an element of fun, but, you can't shortchange the preparation and the practice and make sure that it's serious. I remember BJ said one time, when he came out and played, and he came back and you told me this story. You said, all I know is Coach Howard's an entirely different person in church than he is on the field.
That's right. Yeah. He said, man, he comes out there, Dad, he's like you in this house, it's going to be run my way.
Yeah.
And you did. That's the thing, it's kind of like that bleed in practice and then you just sweat in the game. But if you just sweat in practice, you're going to bleed in the game.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just, we just put our two major emphasis on how we practice and how we prepare.
And I guess if you do that, wouldn't that filter out a lot of the people that are not going to be all in or not capable of going far?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's always a price issue or commitment, level on who's going to put in the time, put in the, the preparation, to see, turning over, just about every leaf, rock, whatever. It's just basically attention to detail.
Yeah.
And some people, don't think that's important, but it's important in everything, whether it's a relationship, whether it's your faith, whether it's your job, whatever, regardless of what the occupation is.
That's the thing, Bobby. It's kind of like, I did a podcast the other week with Frank Shamrock, the MMA fighter, won 5 different divisions. And one of the things that when I was asking him, what's the difference between good and great and all that? And he said it's in the standard. And he said, if you set your standard high, and he said that back then when they would do the fighting, he said they'd come into the gym and what's supposed to be just practice and training were full-blown fights. And he said, but they did that so much in practice that when they got in an actual fight, it was not new. They'd seen everything and done everything.
Right.
And I thought about that in business as well, whether leading BPL or leading the church in both ways. I always set the standard higher than the places around. As a church, I set it higher than the others. When it came to BPL, I said I want to go higher. And it filtered out. But I noticed that's the same thing you've done with baseball. You set the standard higher, and you attract and keep the higher quality, and you filter out and sift through the people that are not going to go all the way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, anybody can, establish, the basic minimum or a requirement, but the standard, like you said, is the key. That's going above what is basically, what we talk about. If you want to be successful, just two basic things. You got to refuse to be average, and then you got to overcome adversity, because there's going to be some train wrecks or derailments, whatever, and storms, and you just got to fight through them.
Yeah, that's good. Refuse to be average. I love that one. And then overcome adversity, obviously, because you're going to have times that somebody's going to drop the ball, somebody's going to
get hurt. Somebody's
going to steal a base and throws a
play. Umpire's going to blow a call. It's going, the sun's going to be shifted. It gets in somebody's eyes. And we talk about that, the law of averages, and those things are going to happen. Let's just be ahead when they do, because they happen. That's the actuary tables that that drive insurance companies and gambling casinos. That you play the percentage because it's going to happen.
Yeah. So it's an issue there of how quick you recover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And practicing and simulating it in your practice time. When I like to umpire all the time when we enter squad, and I'll blow calls left and right. Just to see who can handle it. The guy will be out by 3 or 4 feet. I call him safe. I'll call a bad call, on a batter, and just see how they react, because it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's very good. I don't know that. That's even taking the most meticulous part that I would have never thought of. And
our practices are highly competitive too. So what we've incorporated here in the last couple of years is that we have a podium for every drill we do. We have the top 3,
right?
And no matter what we do in conditioning, I'll take them to the pool. We swim on every Thursday, so until the season starts. And some of them are ugly swimmers, but everything we do is competitive.
Wow. Yeah, I heard one time some baseball coach that I think I read it, and he had a thing where it was like every player come in and see me, sit down, bring me your glove. I want to look at your glove. I want to see, is it flexible? Does it work? And he wouldn't get on to him. He was just saying, I don't want you going out there with the wrong equipment and it not being broke in.
Right.
So he and some of the parents were saying, he's checking our gloves, but he's trying to make sure that when I put you out there, no matter what I've taught you, that every little thing's in place.
It is. It's just, it's just like at a higher level you go. I mean, they examine your glove to make sure you're taking care of it. Very similar to the military checking your weapon. John Wooden, we brought him up. He used to teach his players how to put their socks on correctly, and how to lace up the shoes where they wouldn't cause blisters.
Yes.
Because when you're out there practicing for 2.5 hours nonstop, stop it starting the way how fast they go. You're going to have some friction or blisters. But he would. Vince Lombardi, same thing. All those guys, didn't leave nothing.
Yeah.
For just speculation or guess.
Wow, that's that difference really between the good and the great too. It's those little things, I think.
Well, you gotta have talent, but those things factor in. And the higher you go, and the more you expose, like you said earlier, you use the term crack, but some people can can't take the platform as it gets higher.
Yeah. And there's some I've noticed. Some people, when they do reach the top, if they go the easy route and they reach the top as a ball player or whatever, and then they throw a lot of money at them, they didn't have the character part built in, and their life is shot partying or whatever.
Right. And, when you get that money, it gives you options. It's no guarantee, but it doesn't give you the skills on how to use it. So the skill aspect, is like anything else. And how do you treat people? How you handle your money, how you treat the opposite sex. There's so many components just to being a well-grounded and a well-rounded person. And like you said, if you don't have that character or that spiritual base, it's going to show up.
Like I said, that's where I used to teach this, that money and success doesn't make you who you are, and it really doesn't change you. It just reveals who you really are.
Right.
It just shows what's under there.
Right.
Now, if the character's already there, all it does is highlight it to the world. If it's not there, it shows that too,
Yeah, exactly. You see these people that win the lottery, it gives them, instant money and options, but if they don't have the skills or the people around them to direct them and advise them, it's very fleeting.
Let me ask this about the mindset. If you had a choice today to go play a team that was average, you kind of knew if you did everything right, you could win. Or if you had a chance to play somebody that you knew you can't afford to make a mistake, they're that good, but if you win, the win's going to feel sweeter. Which one of those would you want to do?
Well, I think the major thing is that the winners and people that I have researched, you always plan your preparation regardless of who the opponent is, and it goes back to whether it's a standard or a requirement. And I hope I can come back around and answer your question. But the main thing is that, you got to fill your schedule with people like that. I don't think you do it all the way,
right?
Because you're going to have some times of relaxation and rest, and you can. And most scheduled people say that you need to get a third of people on average, and third, maybe that you can beat, but the other third is it's got to be the top elite. Because if you want to go where you want to go, and you want to, you don't base. At least we had never based our success on how many games we won and things like this. How long you play, and then if you like now with a football, if the ones that want to go deep in December, like everybody lines up and can play early, but the teams, there's only a few teams going to be playing next week,
right?
In the championship games, and then New Year's Day, there's only going to be about 4.
Yeah.
And then you look at the NFL, how many teams are going, into late December, and is going to still be playing in January and February. So, but to answer your question, I think that you only get better by and we have always tried not to dodge anybody. We play, and now we're a Class A school now here at Pacelli, and we're playing numerous 7A schools in Georgia and in Alabama.
Yeah,
because you don't get any better by playing those other people, because they can reveal some weakness and can expose them real fast if you don't play well.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think then you'd be able to see where you are.
Because they can be misleading, or the old fake news thing, your record, and
that's right.
And that's not reality. If you really want to go where you want to go.
I hope you enjoyed episode number 48 and part 2 of Bill's conversation with Coach Bobby Howard. And if you would like to see part 3, stay tuned for next week when it airs episode number 49. And if you would like to stay in the loop and not miss it, be sure to go to our BP Leadership Podcast channel on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell so that you'll get notified whenever part 3 releases. And if you're watching this after all of them already come out, make sure you go to our channel like I mentioned and go ahead and subscribe while you're there. But check out part 3 of this conversation. You do not want to miss it. Thank you guys for watching. This is where real leaders are made.